Hello and welcome to Complexity Limits Guide for the Mythic Drest'agath encounter, written and produced by Crzypck in coordination with Complexity Limit, brought to you by GameStop. Before we begin, please note we will only be discussing the Mythic version of this encounter. We will not be going into detail on how any of the heroic mechanics work. If you want to learn more about how the heroic mechanics work or the basics of the boss overall, please check out our heroic boss guide on the channel. For this fight on Mythic, we spent a great deal of time talking to Max and the other people in the guild about the strategy. Our discussion kind of ended with the realization that nobody in Limit other than THD really has any idea how this fight works. So the official strategy we recommend is just kind of YOLO it. Okay, for real. This fight looks like an absolute shit show on Mythic, but the concept is fairly straightforward. The ads spawn more frequently, they do quite a bit more damage, and they give the boss a little bit more energy when they die. The big change on Mythic is that when any one of the ads dies, all of the other ads of that same name will use their 100 energy ability immediately. So, if you kill a tentacle ad, all the other tentacles will cast Reality Tear, throwing those little purple puddles around the room. This isn't really something you should worry too terribly much about, but you should still be aware of it. You'll have a lot of things on the ground just to keep an eye on and make sure you don't stand in. You'll want to make sure you dodge all the Reality Tear puddles, the Errant Blast red swirlies on the ground, and the Spine Eruption circles. None are lethal by themselves, but with the rest of the raid damage going out, being hit by something extra can easily kill you. We recommend going in with 2 tanks, 3 healers, and 15 DPS. As a note to begin with, there's a 10-minute enrage on the boss. If you hit this, you'll wipe within seconds. You'll need to maximize boss DPS as much as possible. To do this, managing when and who to have soak the Ichor puddles is important. The sets of ads are fixed, always spawning at the same time, same ads, same locations. We recommend moving together as a group to kill the ads. We've prepared layout maps of where the ads spawn to help you pre-plan which direction you'd like to go and which order you want to kill the ads. If you want a still version of these maps, they're all available on the written guide page at complexity.gg/limitguides. The key to killing off the ads properly is the tanks maximizing volatile seed. Every seed should be dropped on ads that are actively being killed. Poor seed management will result in your raid falling behind on killing ads and eventually result in a wipe. As a note here, you want to try and avoid having the ads die within 6 seconds of each other. Remember, when an ad dies, the boss will gain throes of dismemberment for 6 seconds, which will generate 5 energy per second. If another ad dies when the boss already has this effect, then the boss will both gain a stack and refresh the original duration. Since the boss casts the big Throes of Agony raid AoE ability at 100 energy, having her gain large amounts of extra energy is a very bad thing that results in a lot of extra raid damage. The goal with the ads is to make sure you're killing about 2 ads every 30 to 40 seconds. On the pull, DPS down the ads that start with the boss. Don't kill them off right away though. Wait until the first set of new ads spawns 24 seconds into the fight. At that point, you'll want to kill the newly spawned tentacle, the newly spawned eye, and finish off the original 2 eyes. Ideally, all 4 of these will actually die within a few seconds of each other. You're going to use Bloodlust here, so this is the one exception to that 6-second delay rule we mentioned earlier. All DPS should pick up an Ichor over the course of these 4 ads dying, use all of their cooldowns, pop Bloodlust, and nuke the boss as hard as you can. Any puddles that are left over and not grabbed by DPS can be taken by a tank for just that little bit of extra boss damage. From that point on, the DPS players with 2-minute cooldowns should pick up an Ichor only when their CDs are available. DPS players with cooldowns either shorter or longer than 2 minutes can grab an Ichor every time the debuff drops and they're able to. DPS should not be using cooldowns unless they have the Ichor and are pumping that extra damage into the boss. When there's leftover or extra Ichors that otherwise wouldn't be soaked, tanks or healers can always grab them and do whatever extra damage they're able to on the boss, though this is a much lower priority than the DPS who have cooldowns available. As for the healers, there's a few overlaps that you should know about. The boss's Entropic Crash is cast at 15 seconds into the fight, and then every 45 seconds, give or take a second or 2 either way. Remember, the tentacle ads will replicate this Entropic Crash, and it'll deal fall-off damage from the boss, plus from both tentacles. There are 2 times where you'll definitely have an Entropic Crash with 2 freshly spawned tentacle ads, dealing massive damage to the whole raid, and requiring at least 1, if not 2, cooldowns. The first one of these is at 1 minute and a second into the fight. The second is at about 6 minutes and 33 seconds. The 6:33 one is a major pain point, as there will also be several other ads up and generally just a lot of other things going on. You'll want to make sure you do have 2 cooldowns for this one. It's possible to have a third entropic like this at 7:18 into the fight, but this is a lot less likely because the 2 tentacle ads you'll have up are the ones that were up for 6:30. It's much more likely you actually kill at least one of those tentacles by then, so it won't be quite as dangerous. Outside of the pre-planned cooldowns for those 2 really bad overlaps, healer cooldowns can be used as necessary throughout the rest of the fight. Just make sure you have them up for those 2 points. And really, that's it. The fight seems like it's super complicated, but it boils down to killing the ads, dropping the seed on the ads being killed, DPS with cooldowns available grabbing the Ichor, DPS without cooldowns grabbing Ichors if the Ichors would otherwise expire, and just don't get hit by bad things. Good luck, slay this giant tentacle, and get moving on to the next boss. Thanks for watching. We hope you found the guide helpful. If you'd like more details on this encounter or how it works, please click the link below to our written guide. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. You can also find the rest of our Ny'alotha boss guides right here on our channel or at complexity.gg. For more content like this, follow Complexity on Twitter and subscribe to their YouTube channel. To keep up with Limit's race for World First, follow them on Twitter. Happy raiding!